This is a barrier invocation lightning warp infernalist. We're using the Ascendancy Pyromantic Pact to generate Infernal Flame and hit ourselves for fire damage, which gives us enough energy to cast lightning warp and ball lightning in one button. We'll see here that the cost of lightning warp and ball lightning then is enough to repeat. So we use this to clear for mapping with Choir of the Storm for a lot of our single target damage. The build can get expensive to set up. It can do a lot of the content in the game, but it is bad at Simulacrum. It's not great for killing the endgame bosses. I have done T4, Breach, Expedition, and Ritual, but it's slower and it's not the greatest. For mapping, it is fine. It's just fun to use a different skill. The gearing for it can get a little complicated, which I'll explain, but I'll showcase a few maps first and then talk about the mechanics and items for the build. So the core of the build is based on Pyromantic Pact, which replaces your maximum mana with maximum Infernal Flame. You're now gaining Infernal Flame instead of spending mana for skill costs. When this Infernal Flame caps out, you take 100% of your life and energy shield as fire damage, which occurs as a hit and is reduced by fire resistance. So we can see as you build up the Infernal Flame, we're currently at 0%. We cap it out and take roughly 1,000 ES, filling up the energy for that and giving us 3 charges. Then when we cast this, it immediately caps out the flame again, going up to 100%, repeating the cycle. The way to get enough energy gain, it can be complicated, but the simplest way to do it is stack as much energy shield or life as you can, get as much energy gain increase modifier, so the quality of and level of barrier invocation. There is 1 support gem. You can get it through sapphires and also on the skill tree, and then raising or lowering your fire resistance. If you have less fire resistance, you're going to take a bigger hit. If you have more, you're going to take less. So it's really preference. I wouldn't recommend lowering this below even 88%, but you can go to 87. It becomes a lot easier to just cap out. This doesn't have to be played CI. This is just how I'm trying it out now, which I'll go over when I talk about the Ascendancy choices. There's 2 other points. You need your mana cost to exceed the Infernal Flame cap per cast, which is fine with skill gem levels, and it needs to be low enough too that you're not going twice. We can see I have Inspiration. If I take it off, each cast will actually almost double trigger. So I'll go over that with the skill gems. It's not as hard as it looks to set up. You just have to make sure you're in the right balance. For the skill gems, so we'll start off with the most important. We're using Choir of the Storm for a lot of our damage, almost all of our single target, and then the critical hits help us ignore lightning resistance. In this we have Spell Echo, Considered Casting, Ingenuity, Concentrated Effect. Important to know that we have plus 7 global modifiers, so that's 5 from the wand and 2 from the focus. That gives us a ton of our damage also. For our barrier invocation, we have Lightning Warp. Level 20 gem, you can get level 21, but then 7 from the wand and focus, and then 3 from Prism of Belief. Ball Lightning, we're keeping it level 11. If your mana costs are too low, you can just raise this. Otherwise, keep it as low as you want to. Shock Siphon for energy shield recovery. Inspiration to lower the mana cost. And then Magnified for more area of effect. You can raise the damage on this by swapping it out with the other gems. I just like the quality it gives for having a much bigger area. Grim Feast helps because when you blow up a pack with Lightning Warp, you can still pick up the souls. We have Blink on Weapon Swap 2 with Second Wind. If you want 2 charges, you don't have to put that. We have Soul Offering on Weapon Set 2 with Dance Macabre, Ablation, Minion Mastery, and Persistence. We have a second Ball Lightning that is only on Weapon Set 2 and a second Lightning Warp on Set 2. You can put whatever level you want. You're just trying to get as much shock value from this. So we have Overcharge, Despoiler for increased duration of ground surfaces, Expanse for area of effect, and then Lightning Exposure. It doesn't really give us the most value, but really what we want is the Overcharge. Ball Lightning, you could actually put Acceleration in here as well. We can see this is both on Set 2. So we go to Set 2 and cast Lightning Warp. This Lightning Warp gives us a much higher shock, around 50% compared to the Barrier Invocation Lightning Warp. We use Voltaic Mark. This is on both weapon swaps. Haven't used this a lot. You don't need it on maps. On Pinnacle bosses you could, but it increases the effect of shock, which can raise it to about 80%. It's really overkill, but it's something to do with the last skill point. Conductivity. So we use this to really start the loop at the beginning of a map. You can throw it on during ritual and boss fights, but that minus lightning resistance With Choir of the Storm ignoring lightning resistance, I don't think we're going low enough anyways. So you could use Enfeeble or Temporal Chains if you prefer. I have Winter, level 13, with Arcane Tempo, Deceleration, Fork, and then Unleash. This we use as we start on bosses because our Greater Lightning Bolt has a base critical chance of 10%. This will raise it to 20%. You can see we're at 50% here. With the base crit going to 20%, we're getting much higher. I think the math is 100%, but maybe I'm wrong. Either way, this gives us a ton of our damage on bosses. And that's it for skill gem choices. As far as gearing goes, we'll start with the most important pieces. First is a rare body armor. I use the faster start of energy shield recharge. That's one of our used defenses. And then the most important suffix is reduced ignite duration. The range can roll, but I think 60% is the highest. You're going to want at least 52%. Other mods are flexible with whatever you need, stats and resistances. Choir of the Storm, obviously with the level 19 Greater Lightning Bolt. And then for our endgame version, we are using Ingenuity with a max fire resistance Implicit. And then we're using Seed of Cataclysm with caster modifiers for a lot of critical hit chance, spell damage bonus. Cast resistance isn't helping, but you can use any useful Implicit corruption as well. The rest of our slots are all rare gear. So with Wand, it's lightning spell skills, critical chance, and spell damage bonus is the highest priority. For our focus, +2 level of spell skills, critical hit chance, and then I like energy shield recharge rate, but you don't need it. Same for a helm, any stats you need with as high as ES as possible. Same with gloves, and then boots with movement speed. You can get, there's a few ways to cap out the rest of your fire resistance. Right now I am trying out soul cores. I think this is probably the best way, even though you lose a little energy shield. The other option is there is an anoint called Unnatural Resistance. And this gives +2 maximum fire resistance for each 40% uncapped fire resistance. I tried this before, which is why my fire resistance is so high. I think it's an expensive way and not really the best way to do it. And then when I was playing this build in the past, Infernoclasp can roll up to 8%. You can get 5% from the base suffix and then a 3% implicit. And then I have used Rise of the Phoenix, which has a 5% roll, which can corrupt to 6, or you can just have 2 sockets for another 2%. But I'll go into more on the jewels later, but the other way we're finishing off our 100% ignite duration is against the darkness. So reduced ignite duration for small passives, and then +1 maximum fire for notables. This gets us to our 100% reduced ignite duration, so Pyromantic Pact can no longer ignite us, and Grinning Immolation now has no downside. So that's how we solve that problem. Before getting these items, I wasn't using this version of the build. I was actually using Spark and Comet. For the skill tree, actually for the charm, you can use whatever charm you want. I just use a freeze charm. The flask actually isn't doing anything for us at this point, so it does not matter. Skill tree, we path up through all of the ES nodes. We're here taking Insightfulness and critical hit chance on our base skill. You can see I don't have this last one. That's just a level short. I'm level 96. We're pathing to take all the sapphires and increased energy. I do have my Prism of Belief, +3 Lightning Warp. This is Skill Tree, the base, and then we go into Skill Tree 2 for Magnitude of Shock and finish Skill Tree 1 with Pure Power. All our critical nodes are assigned to Skills Weapon Tree 1, while Energy Shield is trying to be in the base skill tree. I'm using faster start of Energy Shield recharge rate, so right now I have 247%. 350 felt pretty good, but with Lightning Warp on mapping, then you just need a little bit faster when you're doing just bosses. Alternatively, you could drop 7 of these skill nodes and try Zealot's Oath, or Eternal Youth, which I might try next, so I could use a flask, but I'm not sure how good it'll be. I may swap to that. We're using triggered spells deal increased spell damage on skill tree 1. If your energy gain isn't quite enough, you can take all of these points too. I'm actually not, because they don't give me anything. CI is optional. I'm using it now. I kind of like it. We path down here for more of the meta skill damage increase and then greater lightning damage. On the left side of the tree, pathing through jewels when I can, and then taking skill tree 2 for magnitude of non-damaging ailments, skill tree 1 elemental damage, and then we have our spell area of effect. This is 6 skill points. I like it for the massive area on lightning warp, and then critical hit damage bonus. If you wanted to get more ignite duration, you could take the maximum energy shield under calibration. For weapon swap 2, I'll swap so it's easier to see. We have curse effect, skill effect duration, magnitude of shock, more magnitude of shock, and then I will also go over the weapon swap. This is important. We have a low level rattling scepter, which gives us our 2 minions to sacrifice. I have reduced attribute requirements for only 17 strength, and then I'm using Arvel's Wheel for increased skill effect duration. You could min-max this by having level of minion skills on here, and you could also, stats or spirit if you wanted to. But for this, just make sure you're overcapped on fire resistance still. You don't want to swap and be at like 70% and then trigger the pact. It will kill you. For our Ascendancy choices, there are some options. Pyromantic Pact's not an option. You need that. I always take Altered Flesh. This gives us a lot of cold and fire, or cold and lightning taking as fire. And then it should be taking as chaos damage. Fizz taking as chaos, but it's not showing up on here, so I don't know if that's working. We take Grinning Immolation. That's just 30% more critical damage bonus with no downside. And then the last point, I'm playing around with a few things. Right now, I'm trying the Infernal Hellhound to just take more hits. He will actually absorb the Pyromantic Pact hit too, so 20% of that will go to him. You can see it on his life. If he's dying, or if he's dead, it's not going to work. But that will also affect your energy gain. So if you're not getting enough energy and he's up, he's probably part of your problem. He dies a lot since we don't have a minion health. But I am using Last Gasp. He will not take damage for you while he's gasping, I'm pretty sure. But he doesn't really do anything other than that. The other nodes are pretty much choice. What I've noticed with these two is that your Infernal Flame will kind of be at a high point when one of your lightning warps go off, maybe both of them. It's hard to tell. You can tell damage is 54k right here if I spend a lot of gold. And then go to Seething Body. We'll try and show it. But you can see when I get up to there, it boosts the damage a little bit. When I trigger Lightning Warp, it appears to go off. Oh, I just think I lost all my gems for the dog. Oh, well. But that is an option, too. Otherwise, you can drop this and drop CI and then take any of these as preferred. If you want more Spirit or more Maximum ES, those are also really good choices. It just, you will have to use an Implicit with Chaos Resistance for this Ingenuity. It makes it pretty easy to cap. I've been trying the CI version. I kind of like this the most. With my 6-gem Demon Dog who just disappeared. For map mods that I wouldn't run, don't do minus max resistances. Don't do less recovery rate of life and energy shield. These are doable but annoying. Less cooldown recovery rate affects your lightning bolt. And then monsters takes 36% extra reduced damage from critical hits. 36% isn't that bad, but when you're running all the explicit modifier increases on the Atlas tree, you know, 50% cooldown reduction turns to like 80, 90, and they're taking no bonus damage from critical strikes. It's doable, it's just annoying. Burning Ground's annoying. Then elemental weakness may or may not be a problem. If you're overcapped on fire, it won't be, but if you're not, it will have the same effect as the maximum elemental resistances. Some things for gems I forgot. Sapphires, all of them kind of look like this. Any of these modifiers are good. Just pick and choose what 3 or 4 you can afford. They get really expensive. And then I would normally just try to buy 2 or one that had like 2 or 3 and then corrupt it myself. But they can cost a lot. I am using a Megalomaniac. Mine is purely defensive. Maximum energy shield, warding fetish, resolution. This is about 800 ES for me. It's comparable to another one of these sapphires, but you can pick any nodes you want that you think will be useful and just try and buy one. I bought this because it wasn't that expensive. And then for my anoint, I'm using barbaric strength, crit damage, mana cost, and strength. You can also just decide anything. Lightning Rod might actually be a good choice if you're not critting enough to get a lot more damage. I haven't tried how that felt, but I think that might even be a better choice than this. But for bosses where you're using Eye of Winter, like you're kind of guaranteed to crit, so you don't really need that. Some closing thoughts. It's a pretty okay build. It's like for what it costs, it's not going to kill like T4 bosses that quickly. It's not that good on Arbiter. I just liked it because Lightning Warp's a fun skill. If you want a more effective skill, use Barrier Invocation with Spark, Capacitor, Persistence, Ambush, and then Acceleration for more speed. This will give you the same clearing, really. Spark will just kill everything, triggering Choir of the Storm the whole time. It's a way simpler way to play it. I just got tired of using Spark and didn't really feel like it anymore. So that's pretty much it for this build. I'll post the max roll. And then if you have any questions, I probably can't answer them, but that's it. Thanks.